Welcome into another episode of Locked On Phillies. And in today's episode, the Phils shut out the Astros. They take a series victory. They've hit my threshold for when we officially say they're back to themselves. But are they? We'll discuss in today's episode.
You are Locked On Phillies, your daily Philadelphia Phillies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, this is Locked On Phillies. I'm your host, Connor Thomas. Thank you so much for checking us out today. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Please make sure you're rating, reviewing, subscribing to the YouTube, all that great stuff that really helps us out here on Locked On Phillies. You may know me from some of my other work. 5 years on the radio here in Philadelphia, talking sports, 97.5 The Fanatic. I've been 3 years a credentialed Philadelphia Phillies media member, and this is my third season as the host of Locked On Phillies. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB, and you'll get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. Oh, a new little slogan there from our friends over at Game Time. I love that. The Philadelphia Phillies are rolling again, folks. They have got it figured out, at least by my standards. I told you that when they win 3 of 4 series, that's when we'll officially be able to tell you they're back to themselves. And they've won 3 of their last 4 series. They won the series against the Washington Nationals, 3 games out of 4. They lost one to the Atlanta Braves after that, 1-2. And then they won 2 series in a row now. 2 of 3 from the Kansas City Royals and 2 games so far against the Houston Astros with a sweep in play today. We'll get to today's game in a little bit, but recapping last night's game, easily the most impressive part of the 5-0 shutout victory was Aaron Nola on the mound. He was dominant in a spot where you really, really needed him to be. Taijuan Walker goes today. We're going to talk plenty about that. But, man, was Nola just so good last night. 7 innings, only allowing 4 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, 6 Ks. 5 base runners allowed. That's a pretty darn good day, especially against an Astros team that sits at 70 wins on the year. They got a solid offense, but Aaron Nola gave you one of those really dominant Nola starts that are they're iffy sometimes. You don't know what you're going to get with Aaron Nola every now and again. You know he's durable. You know he's got a high ceiling. You know that he's a talented pitcher, but you never really know game to game whether or not you're getting great Aaron Nola, okay Aaron Nola, maybe a bit of bad Aaron Nola. But last night, oh my goodness, as dominant as you could have expected. You get 7 clean shutout innings. It rests your bullpen. You only needed to use, I should say, Jose Ruiz and Tanner Banks, who both also had, of course, shutout outings. The Phillies shutting out the Astros, their 13th shutout of the year, by the way. That's tied for the lead in Major League Baseball. They had, 5 last year? This is just really, really good signing that the pitching staff is where you need them to be. The bullpen is starting to feel it a little bit. And the offense, while it wasn't the biggest offensive explosion, 11 hits, 5 runs. Beautiful. That's what you need. Double-digit hits is the perfect mark to get to for this team. It normally means about 5 runs, exactly the number that they had last night. So good. So that's a shout out to the pitching. Like Aaron Nola, I love what he's been doing recently. He started to kind of feel out where he's supposed to be. Is he heating up for October? Well, he's got about 4 or 5 more starts on the year. Hopefully those go as well or close to as well as this one, and he'll be rolling to get ready for the postseason. Another guy that's rolling right now, Nick Castellanos. A really good job by him in the game last night. Only 1 for 4, but that one was a bashed home run, a 3-run that allowed the Phillies to extend their lead. They were already up 1-0 in the inning, 1-0 in the game, but that 3-run home run gave the Phillies some great breathing room. That's kind of where you felt like, okay, Nola's going really, really good right now. If he keeps on this path, 4 runs will get the job done. Well, God knows 1 run would have gotten the job done in a shutout last night. But let's talk a little bit about Nick Castellanos, because he's kind of the unsung hero of this stretch for the Philadelphia Phillies. I don't know where in the world the Philadelphia Phillies would find themselves if it was not for the efforts of Nick Castellanos over this past month and a half, 2-month stretch. He's been the guy kind of keeping them alive offensively, and he's been really good lately, barreling up some baseballs, finding a way on base, not swinging as much at that breaking ball low and away. He's an aggressive hitter. He is, and that's just his nature. But, man, he doesn't get enough credit. This fan base rips Nick Castellanos. I remember somebody, I don't know, he does some podcast about the Phillies. I don't even remember what it's called. But he was complaining all start of the year about how people are saying Nick Castellanos shouldn't be in right field. How can he not sit? Why do you not give him a day if you're Rob Thompson? And that guy kept saying, well, you put him out there because you don't have a much better option, but also because you believe in the back of the baseball card. You believe in the all-star from last season, a multi-time all-star in his career, a guy you paid a lot of money to be here, and a guy that can be streaky, but when he gets good, he can make a big-time difference for this ball club. Oh, wait. Yeah, I think that guy hosts Locked On Phillies. I've been trying to tell you this. Nick Castellanos over 162 is a solid baseball player. He's going to go through really bad stretches. He's going to go through really good stretches. Ideally, you'd like a guy who's good all the time. But not every baseball player is Bryce Harper. Sometimes, and I know Bryce Harper went through a slump, but like the Bryce Harper you normally see. You're going to get guys that are streaky, cold stretches, hot stretches, and when that hot stretch is as hot as anybody in baseball, not named Aaron Judge or Shohei Ohtani, or I guess Bobby Witt as well, like that's a good guy to have on your team. And Nick Castellanos is that guy right now. Like, you need the calming presence. And you wouldn't expect it to come from a guy that strikes out as much as Nick Castellanos does, but he's been really big in the stretches of the year where the Phillies have not been very good. You need that. You need the guy to carry you through those tough stretches. And he can't do it by himself. That's why the Phillies were losing a significant amount of games. But he was a guy that was not slumping totally like the rest of the team. And he saved you a couple games here and there. And now with the rest of the team waking up, you can start to see still how much of an impact he makes. So a lot of love to Nick Castellanos in this game. A lot of work done by him to get to where he wants to be. He tries not to think too much. It doesn't mean he's not working. It doesn't mean he's not approaching his at-bats with a defined strategy. You might not like the strategy of see ball, hit ball, but for some guys it works. And Nick is one of those guys. And while that sounds like a minimalist type of approach, if it works for him, it works for him. And clearly right now it is working for Castellanos and the Philadelphia Phillies. Just an incredible effort by the whole team last night. Solid defense, great work in general, great managing by Rob Thompson to go with the right guys out of the bullpen. Yohan Rojas, again, a defensive replacement. Now, you didn't really need him as much in this game, but still, you get the right guys out there in the right spot. That was the typical great Philadelphia Phillies win, where you get offense, you get defense, you get pitching. Let's get out of here with a 5-0 victory. And I talked to you about momentum from this Astros series building into the Brave series. Now you have a chance for the ultimate momentum. Taking a sweep into a matchup with your division rivals trying to chase you down has got to make you feel good. And the Braves have taken the first two in their series up in Minnesota, which they will finish off today. That's going to be interesting to see, because if they sweep two, you haven't picked up any ground really on them, but you're cutting down the magic number. I believe it's the 25 now for the Philadelphia Phillies. So that's a good spot to be in. The other thing that looked good last night, Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, both with run scores, Turner and RBI, but both multi-hit games. JT Realmuto, multi-hit game. Austin Hayes, multi-hit game, 2-run scored. It wasn't just Castellanos. You're starting to have guys figure it out, heat up. And against a pitcher like Verlander, he's still got, like I told you, he's not the guy that he used to be. And you could tell that from last night's start. You're not facing Cy Young, MVP level. Yes, he won an MVP in his career. An MVP level Justin Verlander. But you're facing a guy with know-how, with ability. And while he might be on the back nine, well on the back nine, he's still got the ability to go out and shut a team down. The Phillies didn't allow him to do that. They took a strong approach against the slow breaking ball. They attacked fastballs when they got him, and they got Justin Verlander to the tune of 4 runs. They got the other one off the bullpen, and that's just great work by the Philadelphia Phillies, top to bottom in this lineup. It's a great time to be a Phillies fan right now, folks. If anything, we should learn from that slow stretch, right? There are going to be times where this team gives us plenty to be mad about. So when they give us stuff to be excited about, let's be excited about it, right? Let's enjoy these wins. Are you starting to feel like the Philadelphia Phillies are back to themselves? Now, part of me is like, I still am a little bit nervous about the way that they played over 2 months. Like, is that a flaw with the team? I don't think so. I think it was a really bad stretch, one of those unexplainable slumps that happens in a baseball season. It was a really long one. There's probably some explaining to do with pressing and the approach at the plate, but I don't think it was like a fatal flaw in this team. But that still has me like thinking, are they fully out of it now? But by my standards, I told you, when they win 3 of 4 series, I will declare that the Philadelphia Phillies are back to themselves. And they've reached that threshold, so it's only right that I stick to my word. The shirt is rocking. We've got a winning streak going on. 4 straight games now for the Philadelphia Phillies that they've found a way to win. They go for 5 today, a series sweep, momentum going into the Braves game. That's Taijuan Walker on the mound. Okay, well, that doesn't feel great. So we're going to talk about it, and we're going to discuss a preview of tonight's game and today's afternoon game. And we're also going to talk about later on in the episode the expectations for Taijuan Walker going forward based around the start. Still plenty to get into on today's episode of Locked On Phillies. First, though, let me tell you about our friends over at eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience is the formula for winning championships, and it's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. They got superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. They've got over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. You're always going to find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, the part that you're looking for, it's guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. I also want to tell you about our friends over at Prize Picks. Come on, you know Prize Picks. They're the absolute best. Daily fantasy sports, well, they're your spot for it. And here's what you want to do, right? Well, while they're America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members, why not add one more to that? Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. And unlike other apps on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers, not against other people, not against like bots or anything. No, you against the numbers. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000. You might say, how do you make correct picks? Well, you set a lineup of 2 to 6 player stat projections. So like half a hit for Bryce Harper today. Go more than that. Half a hit for Trey Turner today. Go more than that. You've got 2 guys with multi-hit games yesterday. Why not look at them to stay hot? Maybe Kyle Schwarber's due for a home run. You can look at that. Just add a couple of them together. You're feeling good. You're making money. PrizePicks has so many ways to win. So download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB, and you can get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even have to win to receive the $50 bonus. You just have to go ahead and put those $5 out there. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks. Run your game with our friends over at PrizePicks. All right, let's talk about Game 3, the final game of this series with the Houston Astros. We're looking at a situation where the Phillies could sweep, but we're also looking at a situation with Taijuan Walker on the mound, who has not been good lately. That's the story of this game, right? It's Taijuan Walker and how he can do. Now, you're facing Spencer Arrighetti, whose name looks like spaghetti, and it's hard not to say that when I look at it. He has not been great for the Astros either. 6-11 this year. A 4.94 ERA in 116 2/3 innings pitched. He's allowed 17 home runs, so not too bad there. 140 strikeouts, so he's got strikeout stuff working. What's killing him is he's allowed 53 walks in 116 2/3 innings. You have to be patient. You know what that says to me? A lot of strikeouts, a lot of walks, good movement, great stuff, doesn't know how to control it. Attack the mistake pitches, stay back, let those breaking balls go. This is a guy that should, if you believe the way other teams have attacked the Phillies, give the Phillies fits, right? This should not be a good matchup for the Phillies. A guy with good strikeout stuff that's not around the plate as much as he should be sounds like a nightmare for an aggressive approach at the plate, which is what the Philadelphia Phillies employ. So what do you have to do? You have to step out of that mindset. You have to go to the plate thinking, okay, I'm going to be ready to hit, but I'm going to be very disciplined on balls out of the zone or close to out of the zone. And you may take a strike or two here on the corner, but it's better than swinging yourself out of an at-bat. And that's something the Philadelphia Phillies have done when they're in bad stretches. This is a guy, though, he's got a high ERA for a reason. Other teams have been able to take advantage of what Spencer Arrighetti brings to the mound. Mr. Spaghetti, he's going to have a tough time if the Phillies make him throw strikes because he doesn't really have the stuff. Like, he's got good stuff, but he's not really going to beat you too much if you make him throw a lot of pitches. So can you do that? Disciplined approach to the plate? Great. That may be hard to do with Taijuan Walker, though, because the expectation, for me at least, and probably for everybody in this fan base, I can't speak for the team because they're going to believe in their guy, but the expectation for the fan base and for yours truly is that Taijuan Walker could very easily give up an early lead to the Astros. So what does that mean? Well, you give up an early lead, you press at the plate, the offense is asked to do more, you've got to be more aggressive, you start swinging at pitches you shouldn't, you start trying to do too much. So you got to be patient, but you also have to get a really good start out of Taijuan Walker. What would be a good start for Taijuan Walker is the question. Now, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a quality start. If he goes out there and gives you 6 innings with 3 earned runs or less, that is good enough by my book. It's not what the expectation should be for a guy you're paying the amount of money that you are to Taijuan Walker, but that should be the approach tonight or today. I keep saying tonight like it's a night game. Today. The Philadelphia Phillies should look to go out there and battle at the plate, but they're going to need help on the mound, and they're going to need 6 innings worth of work from Taijuan Walker. That isn't 6 innings of like 5 earned run ball that he slogs through. He's got to look good. I don't have a lot of faith in him to do that, but you're kind of stuck with it. This is the decision the Phillies made. Now, here's what I will say, right? Rob Thompson, Dave Dombrowski, the guys who got together in that brain trust to decide that Taijuan Walker is going to throw on Wednesday, they're feeling vindicated right now because you don't need this game. You want the game. Don't get me wrong. You're trying to win. But if you go out and you lose today because Taijuan Walker isn't good on the mound or the offense is quiet for whatever reason, you still won the series. You still have momentum in some sense heading into the series with the Braves. It doesn't kill you. It's better than if you're in a situation where you're like, we have momentum, but I don't want to start off the Brave series with Taijuan Walker potentially imploding on the mound at Citizens Bank Park. Now, and we're going to talk more about this series tomorrow when we get into it with the Braves coming to town for 4 games. You have Sanchez, you have Suarez, you have Wheeler, you have Nola again. You have a situation where you get your best 4 pitchers to face Atlanta and go out there and go to work and try and take advantage of that series against the Braves. But let's look one more thing at the Astros before we're in a situation where we focus on the Atlanta Braves. The only guys that have really seen too much of Taijuan Walker in the lineup today, Jose Altuve, who's batting leadoff, has seen him for 32 at-bats. He's batting .344 against him. That's a problem. Alex Bregman, 4 for 8, batting .500. Another guy to be careful of. The only other guys that have seen him for more than 5 at-bats are Victor Caratini and Ben Gamble, who are 1 for 7 and 1 for 6 respectively. So Taijuan Walker has had some success against some guys in this lineup. Alvarez 0 for 2, Pena 0 for 3, Myers 0 for 3. Now, you're not looking at those as a big sample size that tell you, oh, those guys can't hit Taijuan Walker, but you're looking at it in a way that you say, okay, we can work with this. It's not a bunch of guys that have seen him a whole bunch. The Phillies have never faced Arrighetti, so there's no stats from their lineup today. But what I will say is Rob Thompson not going with a give-up lineup. It's Schwarber, Turner, Harper, Bohm, Castellanos, Stott, Marsh, Hayes, Garrett Stubbs catching. That's totally fine to get him out there and get JT Realmuto a day. I have no issue with that whatsoever. Stubbs, 4 hits his last time out. Maybe he has himself a nice little afternoon. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But the lineup should be enough outside of Garrett Stubbs to carry you to a victory. The numbers on today's game, the Astros are actually minus 125 on the money line. They are favored in this game because Taijuan Walker. But ESPN Analytics goes the other way. It's got the Phillies as a 53.2% chance to win. Basically, a coin flip of a ball game this afternoon at Citizens Bank Park with a sweep on the line. It will be the offense that wins you this baseball game if that is indeed the case. I can't imagine like Taijuan Walker goes 7 shutout like Aaron Nola did, but I can imagine him having, again, a quality start that's put you in position where the bullpen can step up and you can steal a game at the end of this series to make it a sweep and get yourself that much closer to October baseball. Now, the Phils are going to be playing October baseball, but get you that much closer to a red October, which is where we all want to be. So that's the game plan. What are you thinking, folks? Do the Phillies find a way to pull this one out and break out the sweep? The shirt is rocking still. Like I told you, you're in a situation where you have momentum. The Astros are scuffling a bit. Yeah, I think they've got a good chance to win today's ball game. I just have a good feeling about it. I hope I'm not wrong. Coming up, we're going to talk a little bit more about Taijuan Walker, though, and the expectations, not just for this start, but what he has to do and what it leads to, the path forward for Taijuan Walker. We'll discuss as we continue today's episode of Locked On Phillies. First, let's talk about Liquid IV, though, because it's the absolute best. Listen, round of golf, baseball game, maybe a tough night of drinking. Hey, it happens. Well, either way, if you're out and about or you're taking in America's pastime, don't forget to hydrate with Liquid IV. And they've got a brand new popsicle firecracker flavor, a surefire summer hit. I know it's surefire because I've had them, and they're amazing tasting. They do great to hydrate you. They make you feel like you just drank like 10 waters in the price of one. It's awesome. Powered by LIV Hydroscience, it's an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration. You just rip open the packet, you put it in a glass or a bottle of water, shake it up, stir it up, make sure it's all mixed in there, and it just like it go down so easy. It immediately makes you feel more hydrated. It's so good. What's even better, 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today, if you use promo code MLB at liquidiv.com. Again, use promo code MLB at liquidiv.com. You'll get 20% off elite level hydration with our friends over at Liquid IV. Let's also talk about Game Time. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Plus, they got a 50% off Labor Day offer for Diamondbacks Dodgers. If you're in the area for that one, well, hey, West Coast listeners, if you're a Phillies fan but just want to catch good baseball, go ahead and check that out. They've got more details on their website. But you've got so many awesome things with Game Time. Think about all the things that you could do. First off, they have last-minute tickets. Prices go down the closer you get to first pitch. They also have view from your seat, so you know what type of way you're looking at the game when you get there. They've got all-in prices, so you don't get surprised by fees at the end of it. And they've got a Game Time guarantee, 110% back if you find seats in the same row and section. 110% of the difference, I should say. So you know everything with Game Time, how they do it. It's not just sports. They got comedy, concert, theater, all that thing, all those things that you want to go to in the middle of the summer when the weather's nice and you want a fun night out. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. All right, real quick before we continue, I want to thank you for making Locked On Phillies your first listen every day. Please make sure your next listen is Locked On MLB, the Locked On MLB podcast, hosted by Paul Francis Sullivan. Sully, he's the best. He's funny. He's knowledgeable. He tells you everything you need to know about what's going on around baseball outside of the Phillies, and sometimes including the Phillies. It's a great listen. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. So check out Locked On MLB, your team every day. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Like I told you, they're the best. Sully's the best. No reason you shouldn't check that out after this show. But let's talk a little bit about Taijuan Walker, because let's say he does go out and has a rough outing today. What do you do with him? If it's more of what you saw against Kansas City and the last couple times out for him, you can't let him start again. You can't. I already would not let him start this game, but the Phillies are making that decision. It's working out because they've already won the series. You can't get in a situation where he is single-handedly tanking the momentum of this team. You've won 4 games in between his last start. If you go out and lose the 5th, he's lost the last 2 games. That's never good. That's like making 2 outs in the same inning. While it is good for the team overall, meaning you're winning games, or in the inning example, you're getting a lot of hits, it feels bad for that individual player knowing you're the one letting the team down. He doesn't want to do that, but it's reality. And if he doesn't go out and give you a good start today, you got to move past him. You don't have enough time left in the season. You don't have enough buffer in the division, and you do not have enough room to work with in the chase for the 1 seed. The Phillies, currently tied for the best record in baseball with the Dodgers, there's no margin for error there. You can't give up games with a non-competitive pitcher, and that's what Taijuan Walker has been. But when I set the line for quality start for him, I thought about what I would have to see in order for him to make his next start. That's the baseline. Anything less than that, I'm thinking, I still feel the same way. You shouldn't start this guy anymore. But if he gives you a quality start, I'd let him go out there again. I'd let him give you another run. You need a guy to eat innings, right? You need someone to keep the bullpen rested, the rest of the rotation healthy. You need a guy that's going to be able to go out there and throw the ball at least effectively enough to eat innings. He doesn't have to win every game, but he just has to find a way to get 6 or 7 innings knocked off. And it's not an easy task, especially the way he's been throwing the ball. So if he's going to go back out there, you're going to have to trust that he's saving your bullpen, that he's a good guy to have in the rotation, that those other starters don't have to carry the brunt of the load. And that's what I'm looking for. If he doesn't, like, let's say he doesn't, and you've got to come up with a way to cover for him to make the next start. Well, you now have Ranger Suarez back, so you have the full complement of the rotation as it was supposed to be when everyone was healthy at the start of the year. Wheeler, Nola, Suarez. You're looking at Sanchez now and Walker. So could you put in Colby Allard? Sure. Michael Mercado was recalled to make up for Jose Alvarado on his personal leave, which we talked about, still wishing the best for Jose Alvarado. Could you start Michael Mercado? Sure. Could you bring up Tyler Phillips again and put him back out there? He's had some really good starts. Absolutely. Spencer Turnbull is not back yet. He may not be back till very close to the end of the season. I don't know what you can expect to get out of him, but you can't get anything out of him right now. So there aren't really that many great options. Like, ask yourself, if Taijuan Walker can give you 6 innings today and 3 earned runs or less, do you feel good that Colby Allard can give you that? Do you feel good that Michael Mercado can give you that? I like those guys, but I don't have as much trust in them as I do a bona fide major league pitcher. And Taijuan Walker is not that right now, but he has been that before. So if he can show you a flash that he can get back to being that guy, well, you kind of got to roll with him. So that's what's at stake. This gets real complicated if Walker doesn't throw well today. The standings also look a little bit less in your favor. Like I said, every game counts. So a lot on the line for Taijuan Walker and the Philadelphia Phillies today. And again, we talked about the offense earlier. It could really help his confidence if you score early. So that would be the plan. If I'm the Philadelphia Phillies, is find a way to scrape a run across or 2 in the first or second inning before you can get behind the 8 ball if Taijuan Walker struggles. The other thing that you got to look at for him is his velocity. Can he hit 93 today? Can he hit 94? It's hot out there, about 97 degrees right now. Like, it's going to be hotter by the time they get – well, yeah, it may get a little bit hotter at 4. It's probably going to be a little bit cooler, actually. But still, that's good situation for that's a good situation, I should say, for pitchers to throw the ball hard. Velocity is going to be good, and spotting that splitter. Those are the keys for how you put together a good start if you're Taijuan Walker. He hasn't had that 1-2 punch all year. So you're going to be able to tell early if the first couple splitters are non-competitive or if they're in the zone and getting smoked, long day. If he's spotting them and he's got the fastball with some velo, well, now we're cooking with a little bit of gas. But I want this to be very clear. I'm heading in to this start from Taijuan Walker with the goal of him being very good, not the expectation. Last night, Aaron Nola expected him to be pretty good. Zach Wheeler, you expect him to be pretty good. Ranger Suarez, Christopher Sanchez, that's the thing. Those come with expectations, those starts. This comes with hope. And sometimes hope is a good thing to have. Sometimes it doesn't exactly work out. Your ship doesn't always come in. So for Taijuan Walker today, he's got to really win part of this fan base back over. I don't think he's going to do it in one start, but the journey of 1,000 miles or 100 miles or whatever the expression is begins with one step. Today is the first step for Taijuan Walker to work his way back and save himself some type of face heading into October. He's not going to throw in October unless he throws out of the bullpen. I don't see that as a reality. So he's looking at down the barrel of another red October where he's not part of a contributing playoff team. And that's going to be tough for him mentally again. Well, there's one way to change that, buddy. Go out there and shove today. I'm rooting for him. There's no reason why I shouldn't be rooting for him, but it'd be easy to say, well, Taijuan Walker, man, I kind of don't want him to do, like, I want him to blow up again so we can get him out of the rotation off the team. No, that's not what we're rooting for. The easiest path forward for the Phillies is him being good. Is it the most realistic? No. So, I don't know, leap of faith time for Phillies fans when it comes to their favorite pitcher, number 99. All right. Well, that's all for today's episode of Locked On Phillies. Thank you so much for checking us out. Appreciate you joining us. Please make sure you're rating, reviewing, subscribing to the YouTube, all that great stuff. Tomorrow, we'll have a recap of today's series finale against the Houston Astros. And also, we're going to be previewing one of the biggest series of the year, if not the biggest, depending on what Milwaukee looks like when you play them later on in September. This is the last time you'll play the Braves coming up. So in tomorrow's episode, we're going to have a big look in to the standings, to the Braves, the momentum, the thought process of the series, all of that great stuff that the Phillies are hopefully going to have sitting right in front of them on the backside of a sweep. Whew, how good does that sound, right? Let's make it a reality, folks. Willpower, baby. That's what the Phillies need, especially with Taijuan Walker on the mound. All right. That's all again for today's episode. I'll talk to you tomorrow on the next episode of Locked On Phillies.